When we live our life, you will say honestly that disagreements do happen. They are part of our life. They are part of our everyday life. But what is important is when those disagreements happen, do you come out stronger or do they pull you down? Never pay back evil with more evil. Do things in such a way that everyone can see you are honorable. Do all that you can to live in peace with everyone. Romans 12, 17 and 18. I'll give an example. You know the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi. He was in South Africa. He was riding this train because he thought, he had the right to be on the train. The government thought otherwise. There was a disagreement between the thought processes. And finally, you know what happened. He was actually pulled off the train. He resisted, but they thought they were doing the right thing. Such an incident can actually just finish off somebody. But he came out stronger. He says, no, this gives me the idea that I need to stand for equality. I need to stand for justice. He came back and he led such a great movement in our country that in fact he led the independence movement and India got freedom. So that's what disagreements can actually do. It can just start that spark which can do something very different. In fact, this was more closer home over here. But I will also, tell you another true story of what happened 2,000 years ago in the land of Israel. When God took human form in the form of Jesus Christ, He walked the face of this earth. In fact, I've personally been to Israel a few times. I've walked the places where Jesus walked. Imagine the power, the impact, God in flesh, walking on those streets. I had the privilege to walk on those streets. But what is important is, when Jesus was being crucified, before his crucifixion, the same people he was working with, he was serving them. There was a disagreement. They thought he was not saying the right things. They put false accusations against him and they finally put him on the cross. So there was a disagreement. But what did Jesus do? So Jesus, the same people who were accusing, when he was hanging on the cross, he prays for those same people. He says, God, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And that words today have become a blessing to so many people who have come to God saved, because they say, how could this person in the midst of such difficulty, in the midst of such persecution, forgive those people? So disagreements are powerful. How do you use them? It matters. And that's why it's important for us to understand how we react to those disagreements. When disagreements happen, people react differently. There will be some people who become so possessive about the ideas that if somebody disagrees with them, they will start confronting them. They will become very combative. They will say, no, this is the right thing, and almost getting in a fighting mode. So how do you really get open to new ideas? How do you really be open to somebody giving you a different idea from what you're thinking? There are two things which really matter why we should be open to new ideas. Firstly, opinions matter. God has made people, and people who believe on this God will know that anybody who has an idea is worth accepting it. We may agree or disagree, but other people's opinions do matter because they are God's creation. Secondly, our ideas are limited. They are limited by our exposure to the people that we have met, exposure to the places that we've seen, exposure to the circumstances that we've been through. So when we talk to other people who have had different exposures, we're actually opening ourselves to the other ideas as well. So it's very important to be open to ideas coming from other people. Now, in the context of our lives, I think it is important to understand that God has called us to be at peace with everybody. How do you maintain peace? Peace means allow them to share the ideas. You may not like the idea, you may disagree with the idea, but you can still listen to the idea. And when we do that, we actually start living with love, with peace, with kindness, and life becomes more enjoyable because you have learned to live with disagreements. So ideas are important, right? What we're learning is that other people's opinions matter. We need to be open. So be open to an idea. Maybe somebody is telling you something. Don't ignore it, because that could be the idea that could change your life, that could take you to the next dimension. When you're open to change, you're open to the next level of elevation in your life.